Hey guys, it's Chau time. So today we're going to be making these awesome kid-friendly candy-coated pretzels. Call them chocolate dipped, whatever. But let's get started. You're going to need a pot. We're using a double boiler method. You need a bowl, of course. You're going to need something to stir with. So we got our nice little rubber spatula. You're going to need your candy melts. And with the candy melts, you're going to need a little bit of Crisco or shortening, whatever you use. Of course, you need your pretzels. We're using pretzel rods. And you're going to need something to use for dipping. And we have this cup. So first, hi Jade. We are going to fill our pot with some boiling water. Or you can just boil the water in the pot, whatever. Turn on the stove. And we're going to watch Jade attempt to cut her fingers off trying to open up the candy melts. But yeah, open up your candy melts, get them into the bowl. And please be safe if you're cooking with kids and using scissors. Like, be right there because they like to chop things up and things off. You're also going to want to add about a tablespoon or two of shortening. I promise that's shortening. It's butter flavored. Now bring your bowl to your pot of boiling, simmering kinda water. And we're gonna let that start to melt while we come over here, and we're gonna have Daddy prepare our baking tray, which you also need. You can line it with parchment paper if you have it. We're just gonna use aluminum and some vegetable oil spray because I ran out of parchment paper that day. So, you know, he's got his thing going on. He can make it look real nice. Yeah, see how nice? We're going to have Miss Jade spray our baking tray, you know, with a lesson from Daddy on how to spray the baking tray. Get that nicely evenly coated because you would hate to do all this and then have your pretzels stick. So after we get that all nice and prepped, we're going to come back over here because our candy melt should be melted. We're starting to melt. It's been on the stove now for about 5 minutes. And you're going to want to stir that up so that the candy melts on the top reach the bottom. And if they're struggling, you know, you can always ask a grown-up for help. I'm a grown-up and I'm always asking a grown-up for help. So, you know, if it's a little tough to get it going, you can always call on your favorite daddy or whoever you have hanging around that's a grown-up to help you give that a good stir because you really want that to get nicely, evenly melted. So as you can see here, they started to melt a little better. And we're going to stir them up a little bit more. It's giving us some more give, you know, starting to come into a nice homogeneous, college word, mixture. And you really want to make sure you're stirring this consistently because you don't want one spot to get hotter than another spot and you're just letting it sit and do its own thing. And of course you can do this in the microwave, but we don't have a microwave for personal reasons. Come up with any reason that you want. So we're doing double boiler. And as you can see here, it all melted beautifully. We decided to go with orange candy melts because, you know, it's fall time and you really want to melt it down. I mean, if I was doing this professionally, I probably would not let it melt down this much. But since we're doing this with kids, we want it to be nice and melted. And then we're going to have Daddy pour it into our glass or whatever container you're using. Because he's not going to make a mess. I will. Jade will. Yeah, no, we're not about that mess life. I mean, we are, but you got to clean up. And who feels like doing that? So, you get that poured into your glass. And what I do is, you know, if we're not quite ready, I'm just going to set that glass back into the pot of hot water. That pot's not on. But now, we're going to take it out. Got a little chopstick in there for stirring. And you're going to see, yeah, Jade wanted to add some adornment. So we have some nonpareil rainbow sprinkles, my favorite. So we're going to dip this and, you know, dip it. You're going to want to tilt the glass so that You get as much of that candy coating up the side of your pretzel as possible. And you can also, if you have like styrofoam or whatever, you know, that florist foam, you can stick these upright in there if you want a better presentation. But we're doing this with kids, so we're just going to set it on our tray after we sprinkle some sprinkles, and you know, it can make a mess on the tray and it's just easy cleanup later. So, you know, it's really not that hard. You dip it. If you're adding sprinkles, add it while, you know, the coating is still kind of wet. You want to make sure that after you dip it that you're letting the excess run off. He's using the chopstick here to help get it up the sides. You know, help yourself. Work smarter, not harder. You're going to want to get that up the sides of your pretzel stick and get it nicely coated. But when you pull it out of that candy coating, kind of let it drip back into the cup. If your candy coating is getting hard, you know, you can always set it back into your hot water. As you can see, that pot back there is off. So you see here, we're going to let it drip. Drip, 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 drip. And if you're adding, you know, sprinkles, whatever, you'll see later that we got a little creative, added some other things. And here he's so meticulous, and I love it. He's making sure it's nicely, evenly coated for the kids to, you know, we eat with our eyes first. So look at them. They're beautiful. And Jade did some of these too. So, you know, don't sit there and think that we just had Daddy doing it, because that's little Princess Jade. She is covering them with one of my favorite toppings, crushed Oreos. She crushed them up. We just kind of, you know, went through the cabinet, looked for what we had. I'm a big fan of sweet and salty, so if these weren't like already salty pretzels, then I probably would have added some pink salt or some kosher salt or whatever. You can add whatever toppings you like. You know, the holidays are coming up. If you wanted to do blue candy melts or red and green, or, you know, whatever. We have, you can always add some edible glitter. And of course, we had to do some Oreos. And then when they're all dipped, you're going to want to set those in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes to an hour. And voila! Look at that. Some of them broke. Oh well. They still tasted amazing. They're going to break in your mouth anyway. And look how easy it was to make these. With kids, it was incredible, and they are delicious. Enjoy!